Picture this, a small village on the edge of the Arabian desert. The sun rises early, and so do the folk. The scorching heat flashes the townspeople, but by now, they've grown accustomed to the harsh environment. No rivers, no lakes, no underground wells, nor water pipes that stretch from distant cities. Just heat, silence, and dry wind. And for years, water came in tanks, deafening diesel trucks rumbling through at least once or twice a week. And that's all they could rely on. And I want to change that. So now let's all reimagine a future where instead of the trucks coming, clean water still flows each and every day. Not from the ground, nor the sea, but from the air itself. Good morning, everyone, and I hope you're all doing amazing. I'm Ali Baseer, and don't worry, I'm no research professor, just a regular AP research student. And over the past year, I've been exploring a simple yet powerful idea: atmospheric water generation. But first, I want to talk about water. Over the past year, there's been a global shortage of water worldwide, with nearly 2 million children under the age of 5 dying each year due to lack of clean water or proper sanitation. And with the global water demand expected to rise by more than 40% by 2050, the pressure is only going to increase. And in drier regions, the usual water sources we rely on, like rivers, lakes, and even groundwater, often don't exist. And that leaves many communities dependent on desalination, turning seawater into fresh water. But the problem is, desalination comes at the high cost of it being extremely energy heavy, expensive, and environmentally damaging, which is what led me to explore an alternative: atmospheric water generation and atmospheric water generators, or AWGs in short. Atmospheric water generation is the process of pulling drinkable water directly from the air. And I know that may sound strange, but I need all of you to realize that those humid August days where you seem to break a sweat after stepping a foot outside is from the moisture in the air. You see, the air always holds some type of water, and that's what humidity is. So AWG asks, how can we use that humidity? Now you're probably all wondering, what are atmospheric water generators? Well, there's two types. The first type is a lot like what happens when you leave a cold soda outside on a hot day. You know how the little droplets of water form on the outside? That's condensation. And some atmospheric water generators work the same way. They chill the air until water drips out. But the problem is, just like running your air conditioner all day, it takes a lot of electricity and only works really well if the air is already very humid, which isn't quite ideal for drier areas like Saudi. However, unlike our first approach, the second approach is a lot more variable. It can work in a variety of environmental conditions. The second type of AWG is more like using a sponge. But imagine a sponge that doesn't soak up juice or water, but actually grabs onto the invisible water vapor floating in the air around us. Then, when you warm the sponge up, say with a little bit of sunlight, it releases the water, and then we condense it and catch it in a container. And that's it. This method excites me the most because it can work in a lot drier conditions and can be powered by renewable energy. But here's the catch. The material doing the sponging is everything. Just like Goldilocks' porridge, it has to be just right. If it's too expensive, fragile, or inefficient, it won't help real communities. The ideal material would be affordable, abundant, so smaller communities can utilize it, durable, so it works for months outdoors, and have a high surface area and many pores, so there's lots of space for water molecules to stick. And that led me to explore manganese dioxide. Now, things are starting to get a bit scientific, but bear with me. Manganese dioxide is a common, inexpensive compound that, if prepared just right, could offer the right structure for capturing water from the air. Now, I tested out 3 versions of manganese dioxide. Each was heated up to a different temperature to see how the results would vary. Because heating changes the way atoms arrange themselves, just like how baking dough into bread changes the size of its air pockets and its texture. Now, there's 2 key factors to look out for in our material: the surface area and its pores. The bigger the surface, the more water molecules can stick on, and the more pores it has, the easier it is for those molecules to move in and out. Think of it like a parking lot. A small lot with only a few spaces fills up quick and traffic jams. However, a huge lot with many entrances lets more cars park and leave smoothly. For water vapor, it's the same. More spaces and smoother traffic means more water captured. Now, the results were quite dramatic nonetheless. The more we heated the material, the better its outcome was. It formed these layered, flour-like textures with over 20 times more surface area than other versions. Put simply, we went from a thin kitchen sponge to a giant honeycomb. And as I said before, more surface means more parking spots for water molecules, and the more pores, the more traffic can move in and out easily. And together, these improvements make the material far more capable of pulling in water from the air. And based on the lab results, it clearly has the potential to perform extremely well as a water vapor absorbent. So, how much water could a device like this actually make? Well, it depends on things like humidity, temperature, sunlight, and how the system's built. And in general desert conditions, it could usually make a few liters a day. However, the point today isn't the exact number. It's that the pathway exists. A simple material with a little bit of solar heat can turn a little humidity into reliable drinking water. And that matters, because if we can create an affordable, efficient material for water harvesting, we can bring clean drinking water to places that have never had stable access before. This kind of system, one that isn't reliant on massive infrastructure or limited by geography, could revolutionize water access in rural Saudi Arabia and beyond. Of course, there are still questions yet to be answered. We haven't measured the full scale of water output yet, and we still need to know how the material handles months of real outdoor conditions. But the foundation is set. And with that, the future of water in Saudi Arabia and the world might not come from underground or overseas. It might already be floating in the air around us. Thank you all for your time.